Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well. Here I am, I'm John with Sir Winston Honeybees. I can never remember the name of my own little faux company. But we're back again at the beehive. Hive 1, Hive 2. Just to remind you, Hive 1 is my original hive right now. It's got 2 deep brood boxes. Mostly we've got eggs and larvae and a queen. And then on top we've added supers, medium supers, to see if they're starting to store honey. Hive 2, and Hive 1 is actually has a new queen. Why? Because that hive had to be split. We created Hive 2, in which we put our old queen. And Hive 2 has just a deep that has 10 frames in it, and our old queen. You'll notice we have a medium super box on top of it, but we don't have a medium super. We don't have frames in it. What we have is a feeder. So here's what we found last week. When I inspected Hive 2 with our old queen, when I first split the hive, I put resources, that is honey, nectar, and pollen, or bee bread, which is kind of a mixture of nectar and pollen that the bees shove into the cells, and it was empty. Well, there's not that many bees in there, and so after some research, I discovered that what's happening here is that this hive is being robbed. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that bees are coming from somewhere else, and they are stealing honey and nectar from this hive. My suspicion, I might be wrong, is that they're coming from hive number 1. You know, this is their honey originally, and they want it back. So they've come in here and they've taken honey. Could be bees from somebody else's apiary. I don't know. And so what do I do to prevent it? Well, as you can see, originally last week I had fully open entrances for the bees. And so I added the entrance reducers, put them back in. On hive number 1, I put the entrance reducer back in on the largest setting. And in hive number 2, I put it on the smallest setting and also shoved some sticks in there. Couple days. The other thing that I did was I threw a wet blanket on top of it just to kind of confuse the robbing bees. So what's happened is that I took the blanket off, obviously, and the bees have pushed the stick out of the way. They're very aggressive bees, and so I don't know if robbing is still going on because they're being fed. So we're going to go in and see if we have nectar at least being stored somewhere. If that's the case, then this hive is getting stronger, and we're going to add another deep, and hopefully they'll start making enough honey there that we can share between the 2 hives, because it's almost it's actually like the end of July, and you know, we're going to be getting into winter. Well, it's still a few months away, but you know, the bees have to collect more nectar, and right now we're entering a period of time which is called another nectar flow. We haven't had bad weather, so we haven't had dearths, which is where there's no nectar. So we're entering a nectar flow. The clover is over, but now goldenrod is starting to bloom. So bees are headed towards goldenrod. Interestingly enough, my neighbor across the street sent me a picture of bees, honeybees, on her cone flowers, her red ones specifically, which are probably mine. So they're going across the street, not very far, and collecting nectar from my neighbor's flowers, which is cool to see when I stop by and visit when I'm walking the dog. Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get inside, start with hive number 2, and then we're going to go into hive number 1, check for our queens. If we don't see our queens, as long as we see eggs and larvae, we're okay. Hoping to see some nectar here, and the start of some resources. So we'll see what happens, and here we go. So again, we're going to have a medium super here, but we don't have frames in that super. So we're going to smoke the entrance, and we'll see what happens. This feeder's empty. So again, what we're hoping to find here is nectar being stored, frames being drawn also, and let's see how we did. We're feeding 1-to-1 sugar in water. So as far as proportions are concerned, for a gallon feeder like that, you take 1 4-pound bag of sugar, which you can just get at the grocery store, and for 4 pounds of sugar, it's 8 cups of water. What I usually do is I boil the water first, reduce the heat or just turn the heat off altogether, dump the sugar in it, wait 10 minutes, then with my whisker I just whisk it until all the sugar is dissolved. We're looking for fully drawn out frames, which I'm seeing by the emptiness of bees there, we might not have, but we might, and nectar being stored. If that's happening, then we've been able to abate our robbery, and we might be ready for a second brood box on top. I'm seeing nectar stored. All right, so that means they're storing their own at this point. I'm not seeing any eggs, but I do see some nectar being stored. So there is a little bit of brood in this, but I suspect they're hatching. And I do see some eggs in there, some young eggs. So the queen is laying in this frame. So when you look at bees, you'll see them head first into the cells. Queens won't do that. Queens will stick their butts in there because they're laying eggs. Lots of emerging brood. Nectar's being stored. So that's a quick look on that frame. I see young larvae in there, and they're not capped yet. So again, what we're seeing is good stuff. There are a lot of bees in this box. I'm going to check with my guy in Hartville, my guy Dan and his wife Heidi. I could go to Blue Sky Bee Supply in Ravenna, but Dan has them pre-built. He has the frames pre-built, and so for someone who doesn't like to build stuff, a lot of nectar again. We don't want this hive to become honey-bound again. But what I'm seeing is the robbing is over. There's a lot of bees on this, so they need more room. Queen is laying, a lot of bees, very crowded. They need more room. There's no chance of swarming right now, but we are definitely ready for brood box. We got brood, we got nectar. A lot of nectar again, nectar problem. So what you want to do is definitely, we're not feeding this anymore. And we got emerging brood on this one. So again, we have lots of bees. She's doing her job. They're storing nectar, and here they're capping honey. Nope, more brood. All right. So nectar being stored. This is a very active frame, so let's see what's going on. We've got empty frames. So definitely, when kind of a lot of the same. Undrawn comb. But there's so many bees in here, and they're bearding. It's crowded. Trying to encourage these bees to draw comb. You see how there's nothing on that one? I'm gonna put the entrance on the back, top entrance, just in case there's robbers and they're looking in the wrong side. At least they won't come in from the back side because they'll be more accustomed to coming in from the front. As it is right now, I'm going to leave that entrance reducer on there, and I think we're feeling pretty good about this. I'm looking in the entrance, and I'm seeing, man, these are coming in with full pockets. All right, this is hive number 1. Again, we'll smoke the entrance. We once again we did reduce the size of the entrance, and one lesson I've learned is to reduce the entrance. Looking to see if they're drawing comb on the top and depositing pollen or nectar and honey. We have a queen excluder, so there should be no eggs because the queen can't get through. Again, I'm kind of hoping that they're starting to draw comb and depositing honey. It's a mystery to me why that's not happening. There are bees on it, and they're depositing propolis. I see that, but I'm not seeing anything else. Nothing. Propolis, yes. Comb, no. No drawn comb, no nectar. So this is kind of a little bit of a challenge, because some beekeepers say, oh yeah, they do it within a week, but mine don't. So I'm not even going to look at the other two. Go ahead and push these aside. I don't want to see any queen cells on here because I don't want to do another split. If I do another split, I'm going to create what's called a resource hive. Alright, so here's our queen excluder. So we got drawn comb. We got a lot of nectar being deposited, capped honey. So as far as this frame is concerned, it's a good resource frame. And we talked about this last week. This might be a frame that gets moved over. This is a good winter frame. It's heavy, so this is a good one. This is a good food frame. I see larvae and I see eggs, like 1 day old, 2 day old eggs. Larvae that are just like little tiny jays. So this is a good frame. This is the new queen, by the way, and this should all be her, all her brood. And by the way, we got birth right here. If you can see, you might be able to see a little baby, a bee just emerging. We got a frame full of brood. Look at that. That is all the work of the new queen. Look at all those. Those are all her babies that will hatch out of there. And along the edges, we've got nectar and a couple of capped honey cells. This is a really nice frame. This is a new frame. So this is a healthy sign. Another healthy frame of brood. And it looks just like the last one. Bee pollen. So my suspicion is that this queen is working down below, just because she doesn't really have a lot of places to lay over here. Well, she does, but I think she's in the bottom. Same story here. Undrawn, undrawn. You see capped honey on the outer edges. And this is all new. Taking a look at our lower brood box real quick. I do want to remind you, as always, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like my videos. Subscribe. And we're going to keep this going. I'm having fun with it. Hope you are too. Hope you're learning something. I know I am. I learn something every day. Kind of resources here and room to lay. This is a frame where we see some queen activity. See larvae at different stages. So the queens come down and she's working here. Okay? Alright. Larvae at various stages. She's laying as fast as they'll draw the comb. As I look at the larvae, this is a place where you want to check for potential varroa mites. Alright, I don't see any of these on the larvae, but it is kind of that time of year when you have to do your treatment. So next week we're going to bring the Formic Pro out and we'll put that on these 2 hives. We'll leave that open slot because I'm going to bring a frame from the other hive onto here. Here goes an empty frame. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So what we did was we took a frame, a frame from here that was drawn, fully drawn, put it in there. Is that a mistake? I don't know, because we're still trying to draw some frame over here. But we put an empty frame in here. This is a strong hive with a new queen who's laying, and I want these, and especially we have a nectar flowing right now. I want these bees to draw frame, to draw comb, and strengthen this hive. So we want that hive to be strong. We're going to add another brood box to that hive. Well, good inspection today. I think good inspection. Didn't see anything bad in the hives. Saw nectar back in hive number 2. Little issue with the drawing comb on the bottom box of hive number 1. But both queens, new queen, old queen, doing a great job. So I moved some open comb from the old box to the new box just to give the old queen room to lay, and put another empty frame down there. Honey supers are staying on. Feeding is off for now. Again, we have nectar coming, and I think we're going to be in good shape. We'll see what next week brings. I guess that's the excitement of beekeeping. Next week, of course, we're going to want to go ahead and treat for mites with the Formic Pro. So that's a new thing, but August is here, and it's time to start treating these bees for mites, especially as we head into winter. We don't want, any issues with mites as we head into the fall, obviously, and into winter, when we're going to have to obviously prepare these bees to survive the winter. Again, this year, not taking any honey. Everything they produce is theirs. Hopefully they'll make enough. We'll have to wait and see. But until then, thanks for watching again. Remember to subscribe. Remember to, ring the bell for notifications, if you will. And of course, like my videos so I can make more. Again, trying to keep things going over here. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm John. This is Sir Winston Honeybees. And have a good day. Happy bees, everybody.